Okay, that is great.
All right, welcome back. Engineer OTWANI is on the spot. He will continue give us a bit of his background, and then we start questions immediately. Thank you, Engineer. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Ndolo, for this invite. I will be very brief so that I can move on to the question and answer session where members can seek clarification. Now, regarding my participation in professional societies, I want to start by saying that I'm the current vice chair of the Architectural Association of Kenya Engineers Chapter. In this chapter, we are currently an accredited CPD provider. For those who attended our events last year, we had a tour to the SGR. We also had a tour to the Northern Collector Tunnel in Murang'a. And the participants were able to collect 5 CPDs for each of these events at a minimal cost of 1,500. That to me was a great achievement. And now that we are properly accredited, I believe that we'll be able to do better. So we intend to organize even more activities this year at affordable rates for our engineers. We also very keen at IEK Engineers Chapter on mentorship issues. For instance, it was last year we did attend a graduation party of student engineers of the University of Nairobi. Some of our members are student engineers, and we attended, participated in that. And what we did, we now also went a step further and provided internship opportunities for them. So currently on my project, I have several interns, including 3 members who are formerly students and now graduates at IEK Engineers Chapter. The lesson from IEK is, which I would like to take to IEK, is the communication system. They have a very robust communication system. They also have a very robust advocacy system, which I would really wish IEK to borrow a leaf. So once elected, I intend to actually advocate for better communication systems at IEK, enhanced and vigorous advocacy for the various issues or challenges facing our profession. A good example I like to cite is the National Construction Authority. The advocacy that resulted in enactment of that NCA Act. And you recall that the first chair and the first CEO were both architects. It shows you the degree of advocacy. So I'll leave it there for now. And the other thing is digitization, because you'll find when you pay your subscription fees at IEK, you pay and a certificate, the license is generated and you print it out. So it is really a nice system, something again that IEK can borrow. So my candidacy for this position of ordinary council member is driven by my vehement desire to improve service provision at IEK, and my passion for mentorship of graduates and fast tracking their transition from GEs to PEs. Now I'll go to my agenda, which is based on 4 pillars. The first one is enhanced visibility for the empowerment of the engineer. There are various, some of the strategies I intend to undertake to achieve this is growth in IEK membership. That is as far as visibility is concerned, because the more the numbers, the higher the voice, the more the impact, the more ready the politicians will be ready to listen to us at both levels of government. Advocacy in print and electronic media is another strategy, and also advocacy through the elected leadership of both the legislature and executive at both national and county levels. That is as far as the agenda for enhanced visibility is concerned. My second pillar is enhanced service opportunities, both in private sector and public sector for engineers. We all know that today, a lot of non-engineers occupy positions that should have been occupied by engineers, I believe strongly that top executive positions, both at the national and the county level, that are to do with technical work, engineering works, those positions should be occupied by engineers. They are rightfully engineers. Engineers are trained to be able to effectively carry out their duties in those positions. So I do not understand why other professionals in the built environment, or not even built environment. Some you'll find at the county level, the county executive for infrastructure, you might find he's a teacher. Yeah, those are political appointments. So we need to advocate strongly for our space as engineers to come out vigorously, vibrantly, and assertively, relentlessly, to advocate for our rights, so that these opportunities that rightfully belong to us are not taken by other professionals. Another strategy is stringent legislation to restrict hiring of expatriates. This we must advocate for strongly. And where local skills are lacking, it is our responsibility to develop the local skill set to be able to take care of that. Expatriates coming in should only come in when there's a complete lack of locally qualified engineers. And even when that happens,
Hello. Engineer, your network?
Yeah, I was also wondering whether it's from my end.
It is his network. Actually, I think he's disappeared.
All right, let me reach out to him and see what's happening.
All right. All right, members, as we wait for engineer to connect, engineer, you're back.
Sorry, the network, I'm in the villages here, so the network is not too stable. I apologize for that.
It's okay. Now, I can see your agenda is in 3 statements. And
in 4 statements.
In 4 statements. So what is the first statement? The second one, so that we summarize and then we go to questions before your network.
So that is right. Let me proceed to just outline the pillars so that we can then go to question and answer.
Yes.
So the third pillar, I talked about the second pillar, can expound further. The third pillar is affordable and effective continuous professional development, which affordability is an issue we're already dealing with at IEK. Effectiveness includes courses that are based on training needs assessment, so that we are sure that these courses are adding value to the GEs and PEs respectively, and even Cs. Then the fourth and last pillar is reclaiming the role of the engineer in economic development. So that is a summary. This information is definitely available on my agenda, as it has been displayed there. So, and it has been posted. I have posted it on the various platforms, so I'm sure it is out there with everyone. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I apologize for taking a little longer and for the instability of the network. But I'm now ready for the question and answer session.
Yeah, thank you, Engineer OTWANI, for the introduction and all your manifesto. Definitely a very impressive background. So at this moment, I'll welcome anyone who has a question. I think Engineer Dick had a question. Also, Engineer Okanga and Jichi had a question. So we can start with Engineer Dick. Are you here? You can unmute your microphone and ask the question.
Good evening, Engineer OTWANI.
Good evening to you.
I'm very impressed with your professional background. You do realize that you are getting into something that is really not professional, but like to be a representative of engineers. Now, I have two questions regarding that. You have your 4 pillars, very clear, but you know you are going to work with others. Have you thought through that, like who is in your preferred team, or what will you do in case you are elected and you are elected with people who do not believe in your pillars? Thank you.
Can I proceed to answer that one, Dolo, or should I wait for the other questions?
You can
Hello,
answer
can you
it.
hear me?
Yeah, you can answer it. Not no.
You can answer it?
Yes, and then we'll go to the
Right.
next question.
First of all, to start with, it is true that I'm now getting into some people call it the murky waters of politics, and some people say politics is a dirty game, and so on and so forth. And I think that is why engineers have been relegated to the periphery because of that assumption. And then these same politicians are the ones who legislate, and we have to abide as law-abiding citizens by the legislation. My answer to your question is that I believe that anyone who joins the IEK Council should not join that council blindly. And that is why you must be able to document and articulate your values, the things that you believe in. Because I believe that each council member will be elected by a constituency of voters. Yeah? Whether it is a diverse constituency, but there are people who will elect you and they will expect results out of you. Yeah? So the first task of the elected leadership on the 24th day of March, once they assume office, is actually to synthesize, to synergize, and to synchronize the many visions and strategies that I have seen being propounded by the many candidates that we have, and particularly the ones that who will be elected into office. So that then you create one vision as the IEK Council, and then you're able to work together. So in short, I have my values, I have the things that I feel need to be done, but once I get into that office, it will be my responsibility again to put this agenda on the table for discussion and to convince the top leadership that this agenda is worth the trouble. I take refuge in the fact that if you read all these manifestos and all these things that are being said by the various candidates, you'll realize that there's a lot of similarity in the vision, a lot of similarity in the strategies. So it will not be very difficult to synthesize and synergize this into a working document or working objectives that will be embraced.
Yeah, so.
Hello, everybody answered?
Oh.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So, Engineer Okanga, you have a question? All right, Engineer Ndolo, you wanna ask a question? Or Engineer Okanga, you can unmute your microphone and ask. Right, so Engineer Ndolo, you can go ahead. I am sure you have a question.
There's no question today?
Oh, okay. So Engineer, I can see a hand.
Oh, Cynthia. Cynthia has a question.
Cynthia, yeah, please go ahead.
I can never miss a question. Cynthia, you can ask your question, then after that we'll have my side. Cynthia, okay, right?
Hi, Ndala. Engineer OTWANI, thank you so much for that presentation. My question is on your 4th pillar, reclaiming the engineer's leadership role in driving economic development. Could you please expound on how you intend to actualize this pillar?
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for that question. I will go right ahead to answer it. There are various strategies that I intend to advocate for in order to realize this fourth pillar. One of them is public sensitization in both electronic and print media on the engineer's role in conceptualization, prioritization, implementation, and maintenance of projects. I believe the public is fully aware of the engineer's role in implementation and probably maintenance of the projects. But there's a missing link there. In terms of conceptualization and prioritization, that role has been taken over by politicians. So to reclaim that role, we must start by sensitizing the public. These are the voters, yeah, for them to know who is supposed to do that work in order for them to get value for their money. The place of feasibility studies has been taken over by politicians. So nowadays a politician just declares this road will be done, another road will be done, etc., without regard to the economic value of the same. So the public needs to be sensitized, and I think that is a starting point of reclaiming our position. The second one is then advocacy through the leadership of the executive and legislature on the need to allow us as engineers play our role in national development. So that, instead of politicians just waking up and starting projects, they should engage as professionals to be able to carry out requisite feasibility studies and advise them on value for money. So if you have a budget of 1 billion, how can you best spend this money so that it has the maximum impact on the community? I think that is a role that we can play effectively as engineers. So if we lobby the top leadership and allow us that space, then we will be able to then carry out our obligations. The third strategy is enhanced participation by engineers in policy formulation and legislation. And this is a tricky one, because this one requires us to encourage engineers to vie for political positions, both in the county assemblies and the parliament. And by parliament, I mean both Senate and the National Assembly. So that our voice can be heard at every platform where policies are being formulated, every platform where laws are being formulated that affect our profession. We must be on each of those platforms. And it is not possible for that to happen when we are not in parliament. So we need to have our numbers rising in that parliament so that our voices can be heard and we can have easy access to our colleagues who will then assist us champion our agenda. Then the fourth is really intertwined with what I said earlier, the agenda, because it involves, again, now finally, reclaiming our role in conceptualization and prioritization of projects. So basically, this is an agenda item that talks about mainstreaming the role of the engineer in national development. You see, engineers are wealth creators, yeah? And we are at the center of all infrastructure projects. It is only that we choose to sit on the periphery and allow politicians to take credit for all our hard work. So a politician will come and launch a project, yeah, we will not even mention anything about the engineer. That would be forgot, probably say the contractor and stuff like that. He launched the project.
Engineer, in short, you're saying we should claim our space by vying for political position at the same time.
Correct, because that is the easiest way to influence the laws that govern our profession. Is when we are represented in parliament. Of course, IEK as a welfare society will do the advocacy part. But when you do your advocacy and in parliament, other decisions are made that do not favor you.
All right. How many legislative? You've been a member of IEK for a long time. How many legislations have you assisted in numbers? How many? So that to protect the affairs of engineers, you have been a member of IEK for a long time.
I have not been. Okay, let me answer that question.
And just a minute, just a minute, engineer. You've been a member of IEK for a long time, and you've been seeing some of the legislation that are coming out that are affecting engineers directly, putting all the works of engineers directly under architects, for example. And now the question will be, how many legislations have you taken part in? And then, where is your loyalty? Is it in AAK or in IEK? And previously, why haven't you been able to serve in any committee level in IEK? Have you been consulted, co-opted for such positions? How will you manage to serve two societies at the same time? Will there be will there be any conflict of interest when whichever side your loyalty is lying at? These are the questions that we members want to know.
Okay. Maybe just to clarify, at AAK, I've been there for about 4 years now. Because I was first a member of IEK. Of course, for many years, I've been a member of IEK. And you notice, as I was taking you through my professional journey, you notice that the kind of work I've been doing has not been Nairobi-based. It has been work that has been carried out, say, in South Sudan for 4.5 years. When you're in South Sudan for 4.5 years, being now co-opted into a committee here in Nairobi that require you to meet, and you see they're not meeting by video conference, they're meeting physically to discuss these things, may be difficult. Yeah. So that is a reason why I have not participated in that. Not because I do not want, but because the nature of my work. Like today, I work in Kakamega. At least Kakamega is nearer, I can take a flight, and so on and so forth. So I've been working in fairly far-flung areas, and therefore I've not been able to participate in that. But at AAK, I have done my duty for the short time that I have been there as the vice chair. And I have cited what I have done in the interest of engineers in terms of AAK Engineers Chapter was previously not an accredited CPD provider. Now it is. Yeah. Secondly, when I got in there are several graduates, and I have actively been involved in mentorship, and I'm currently mentoring some, even as we speak, on my project. And all my projects, I have mentored not less than 10 engineers, graduate engineers. Some of them are already registered. So in my space, in my personal space, that is what I have been able to do. But I also realize that for me to be able to do more, I need a greater mandate so that I can be able to more or less increase my network and be able to then facilitate even this attachment of graduates to various projects and the professional engineers and so on and so forth. In terms of conflict of interest between AAK and IEK, you'll be surprised that there's no conflict of interest. Actually, AAK Engineers Chapter is just an extra advocacy group, an extra voice for engineers. Our aspirations as the Engineers Chapter of AAK are in tandem with the aspirations of IEK. It is just that the platform is different. And the more platforms you have, actually, the better off you are, because your voice is heard in many spaces. The only thing we need to do is now to synchronize these many platforms. There's ASEC, there's AAK Engineers Chapter, there's IEK, and other mutations. Now, of course, let's not forget to mention that even IEK itself has branches, the South Rift, the Western, the Coast, and so on and so forth. What we need to do is to synchronize the efforts of all these players, yeah, in such a way that we're able to, as a united force, realize our agenda. Rather than divide ourselves, we are better off united so that we can be able to achieve our agenda.
So what,
I hope I've answered your question.
So why haven't you applied, the 4 years you've been in AAK, why haven't you applied to be in any committee at IEK?
I think that question, Dolo, I've already answered it. I've told you.
You are far. You are placed in far areas that you could not attend.
Maybe I need to expound a little more.
No. Engineer, I just wanted to understand, because I was off the mic when you are answering. You are located in other areas.
Sorry.
You are located in other areas, like say South Sudan, right? So it was difficult for you to attend, to apply for such a situation where you'll have to attend meetings, right?
These committees,
yes,
even at AAK, when we have our meeting, we have, unfortunately, we still have physical meetings where you have to come on a round table and discuss issues. Yeah.
All right.
Now, when you are a resident engineer, 100% in charge
Yes.
of a project on behalf of an implementing authority like Kura, when I was Disli, or Nero Kena, when a resident engineer means that you need to be present on site. Yeah, you need to be present on site. So when you are in a far-flung area, it becomes it's more of a challenge. When you are within Nairobi, or like right now I'm in Kakamega, where it is 1 hour flight from Kisumu, less than 1 hour flight from Kisumu to Nairobi, it is very easy for me to deal.
All right, noted, engineer. In short, what I wanted members to understand is this: if by any chance right now we have technology, if by any chance right now maybe you are not elected as a member, but you are called upon to serve in a committee, will you take it? Despite the
100%. In fact, I'll tell you one thing for sure, that even early this year,
yes,
I was already in discussions with the Honorary Secretary of IEK, the outgoing Honorary Secretary, seeking to be involved in those committees.
All right, noted.
Yeah.
So members,
so I have actually thought to be involved in those committees.
Members have it from the horse's mouth that he is able to stand in any time when called upon. Now, there's a question is this. Yesterday we were hosting Engineer Shama, and there is a document that has placed architect above an engineer. What is your say about that?
JBCC.
Yes.
Architects have their role to play.
Mm-hmm.
Engineers have their role to play.
Yes.
My problem would be when architects now encroach on the engineer's role. That would be a serious problem for me, because that would mean that the leadership, we as engineers, are failing to claim our rightful space, and that is part of my agenda. My take on that position is that once elected into office, the work of the council is cut out. And legislation, is not cast in stone. Legislation is dynamic. That is why constitutions are amended. Whatever laws are enacted, they are amended, and so on and so forth. So that doesn't mean that we've lost it. It simply means that we need to do a lot more, to be more visible, to be involved more in advocacy, so that we can reclaim our space, so that our positions that may have been taken by others can be reclaimed. And by the way, engineers in numbers, I think are far more than the architects. But the architects are much better organized in terms of advocacy.
So what you bring to make sure that there is better organization? What will you do to make sure that there is better organization? In one sentence.
In one sentence. Well, I will use my corporate governance experience because between 2015 and 2018, I was a member of the board of directors of the Rural Electrification Authority, where I also served as a chairman of the Human Resource Committee of the board. And I liked the way the things were run there. IEK also ran similarly through committees, just like the Mongozo requires that state corporations are run through committees. So I have requisite experience on what works. And when I come into IEK, I intend to share that experience at IEK so that things can be done better than what is happening now.
All right. Abdi, you have a question? One question, please.
Yes, I have a question concerning the document that you are talking about, the condition of contract for construction workers. And engineer, being the vice chairman of the engineers chapter at AAK, what is your opinion on the way they have sidelined the electrical and mechanical engineers, whereby that document is not giving them an opportunity to submit their drawings? And those are the things that Engineer Shama was pushing for. And whatever he gave out was thrown to the dustbin. What is your opinion, engineer? And knowing that you are a very progressive leader, and what is your take on that, engineer, kindly?
Now, it is very unfortunate that today architects basically, put structural engineers between a hard place, they say between a rock and a hard place. So the contract is given for construction of, say, a multi-story building, and the architect is the one in charge. And then the other engineers involved in it, mechanical, electrical, structural, are paid peanuts. And that is why it is critical today that these scales of fees that we have been talking about for a very long time should be gazetted so that engineers are not misused. Yeah? So it should be clear to any architect that if I'm going to employ a structural or mechanical electrical engineer, these are the dues that are that I have to pay him. These are the scales of fees. Yeah. So that way we are able to safeguard our own space. And I think, as I said earlier, whatever document that that may have may be in place, those documents are not cast in stone. It simply means that the new council has its work properly cut out for them. In terms of advocacy, that is why my agenda is advocacy for opportunities, advocacy for relevance, visibility. Because, when these things are not working, when we are not visible, when we are not vibrant, we are not assertive, and then we end up in situations such as this. We need to be more assertive. And just to say, Kiteme has done a good job. I appreciate. He can cite a few things that he's done, which is good. Yeah. So we need, actually what is required is some new impetus. And that is why I'm offering myself to get in there and reinvigorate that council. Yeah. So that if perhaps Kiteme may not have got requisite support to be able to push for what he thought, then he has an extra voice in me that can help him push that agenda. I hope I've answered your question.
Noted. Thank you, Engineer,
Engineer.
For that. Abdi,
Engineer Ndolo.
Abdi, we have another guest supposed to join us in a few minutes. Okay. So maybe we can have questions that Engineer will be able to answer them in Telegram, if that's okay with you.
Okay. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will be more than glad to receive questions.
Yeah, I have several. I have several. I will send them to you. We are supposed to have.
Please send them to me. I will be more than willing to answer them.
All right. Yes. Because we are supposed to be hosting Engineer Grace at 7, and we have gone further. And maybe, and she's a lady, she's a woman, she's a wife, she's a mother. She must be allowed to have motherly duties also. Otherwise, Engineer.
She's also my colleague at IEK.
Yeah, we are going to ask her more questions on IEK. Abdi, you get that?
All right, yes, I get that.
All right, Engineer, give us a parting shot as we close the meeting, and we wish you the best.
Thank you very much. I would like to appeal to all the voters, 1,629 of them the last time I checked, to vote for me into this council as an ordinary council member, because a vote for me will be a vote for enhanced visibility of engineers. It will be a vote for enhanced service opportunities. It will be a vote for affordable and effective continuous professional development. It will be a vote to reclaim our leadership role in. So I urge all voters to consider my candidature for this position so that I can be able to apply my energies, my long experience, my network to improve the welfare of engineers. And allow me at this juncture also to thank all aspirants for the unprecedented, vibrant campaign efforts that we've witnessed so far on both the WhatsApp and Telegram platforms. It's been a very vibrant campaign, and many visions and strategies have been shared on how to address the challenges facing our profession. And I am sure, and I believe that if we elect the right leaders, they have their work already cut out in terms of, first of all, upon assumption into office, to synthesize, to synergize, to synchronize these visions and the strategies so that we can have one united force to champion the aspirations of the engineers. So despite our diversity, I believe we all want a prosperous IEK that will champion the interests of engineers, increase our clout.
All right. Thank you,
and,
Engineer.
thank you very much, Ndolo, for hosting me in this webinar. And I look forward to serving engineers. God bless you all.
Thank you, Engineer, for joining us. Thank you, Diana, for co-hosting with me. Thank you, members, for taking part. Let's meet at 7:30. We'll be hosting Engineer Grace. Engineer, wish you well. Wish you all the best. May God grant your
thank you very much.
The wishes of your heart. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Asante sana.
Bye. Wishing you all the best, Engineer.
Thank you very much.
All the best.